Okay, so for photosynthesis experiment 2, we're going to start. It's a little involved, so I'm going to do this in pieces. But the first thing we're going to do is discuss the question. The question that we're attempting to answer is, do plants store starch in their leaves? So remember our last experiment, we added iodine, which is a stain to detect a substance. And in this case, we added iodine to starch to see what reaction happened, and the iodine turned our starch purple. For this experiment, we're going to take a leaf and we're going to remove the green from it and then add iodine at the end to see if the leaf has starch in it. So that it should react. If I remove the green from the leaf and add iodine, then I would expect the leaf to turn, what would we expect the leaf to turn? Perhaps purple, right? So for step 1, it does ask us to gather all of our materials. We need rubbing alcohol. We need they say a parfait glass. I'm just using the smaller glass inside of a measuring glass, a shallow bowl, a plastic top, tweezers, gloves, protection gloves, iodine, and safety glasses. We need boiling water for each time that we do this. So the first thing we're going to do is add the plant leaf to our shallow bowl. And then when we do that, we are going to add boiling water and push it down for a minute if it floats to the surface, and hold it down for 1 minute. And then we're going to do this 3 times, and after a minute each time we're going to replace it with boiling water. So this is just step 1. We'll do this for 1 minute and then we'll come back and do it again. I'm on my second minute of adding fresh boiling water and holding the leaf down for minute number 2. We have to do this a total of 3 times, adding boiling water each time new to the leaf. So after this minute, then I'll pour out this water and do it 1 more time with fresh boiling water and hold it down for 1 more minute. Okay, our next step, I've done the leaf in this 3 times for a minute each with hot water each time and pouring it out. Now our next step is to give the rubbing alcohol, pour rubbing alcohol in your parfait glass, and just enough to where the leaf would be covered. So I guesstimated where our leaf would be covered, and you're to add boiling water to that parfait glass with no leaf in it yet, just to kind of give it a warm water bath, and let it sit for 5 minutes. So this has been sitting for a couple of minutes now, and after 5 minutes we'll go to the next step. Okay, so our rubbing alcohol has been sitting in our water bath for about 5 minutes. We need to pour this out. We're going to replace that with freshly boiled water. In the meantime, we're going to take our leaf and put it in the rubbing alcohol and make sure to push it down with a spoon. And we replace it in our measuring bowl here. And I take my boiling water, and only in the outside, to give it another hot water bath high enough to cover that rubbing alcohol. Now it's going to sit in here for 15 minutes. You swirl it every so often. I will time this and come back on after 15 minutes. We are going to replace the rubbing alcohol in the middle, and we do need to replace the hot water at least 1 time during this 15 minutes. It should be removing the green color from the leaf if we're doing it right. So I'll check back in after 15 minutes. Okay, we're about a little more than halfway through our first 15-minute interval. I just replaced the water with fresh boiling water, and as you can see, that green is in fact being removed from the leaf. So when the 15 minutes is up, we're going to replace the rubbing alcohol, pour that rubbing alcohol out in the sink and put some fresh rubbing alcohol in there, and then repeat this process again to try to remove the remaining green from the leaf. Okay, we're at the end of our first 15-minute phase, and as you can see, the water inside the cup is indeed green, so it is removing that color. So we're on step 5, and what they want us to do now is empty out the rubbing alcohol that is green and empty out the hot water bath, and then redo this step again for another 15 minutes. So we're going to empty this out, and then we'll redo the step. Okay. So I've just emptied it out, and you can see that a lot of that green was removed from the leaf color. You can see it's a lot lighter than it was. It's starting to be a little more translucent. So I'm going to once again add rubbing alcohol and make sure that I add enough to cover it. Okay. I'm going to put that in the heat safe bowl and add my boiling water once again, and then we will let this sit another 15 minutes, and then it should by then remove all the green from this. So we'll check back in after 15 minutes, and hopefully we've gotten all the green removed from the leaf. Okay, we're a little more than halfway through our second 15-minute interval. You can see that this water is indeed turning green again. So I am going to add our next batch of hot boiling water to this, and then wait it out. And if all goes according to plan, this leaf should not be green in a few minutes. Let's see. Okay, we're at the end of step 5. Now we're at step 6, and it says pour out the alcohol into a sink. I just did that. And rinse the leaf in hot boiling water. I'm doing that in this bowl of boiling water I have right here, and it says the leaf should no longer be green. Now my stems are pretty green. If you look at it pretty carefully, you'll see my stems are green, but the leaf, it took out most of the green, a lot of the green, as you can see. Now this final step that we need to do is add a few drops of iodine to it. For step 7, we're placing our leaf in a plastic tray, and we're going to add a few drops of iodine, making sure to fully cover the surface of the leaf. Now, we used iodine in our last experiment to detect the substance of starch. So if we add iodine and cover this leaf and let it sit, after 5 minutes, if this leaf has starch, then I guess we would expect the leaf to change color. So be back in 5 minutes. Okay, so for our last step, we added the iodine and let it sit, and it turned it greener and darker. So we do see the presence of stain detected, which tells us that there is starch stored in plants' leaves. So when plants take it in, they do store some starch in their leaves for when there is no light. There we go.